Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fabulous. Way better than last weekend. Last weekend, we were helping some friends move. My little sister, we were helping them. That's not fun. I don't really like moving, myself or anyone else. So I'm glad we don't have to do that this weekend. Isn't that nice?
It is nice.
My feet are still sore. I've got a couple of quotes. Also got a great guest. I have Dr. Hutter-Epstein joining us on the program. She has a new book called Aroused. I'm kind of nervous for this interview. I don't know. This kind of seems awkward to me. Here's the quote. We got a quote for Saturday and a quote for Sunday. The Saturday quote is, when looking for a life partner, my advice to women is date all of them. The bad boys, the cool boys, the committed, phobic boys, the crazy boys, but do not marry them. The thing that makes them bad boys sexy, do not make them good husbands. When it comes time to settle down, find someone who wants an equal partner. Someone who thinks women should be smart, opinionated, ambitious. Someone who values fairness and expects, or even better, wants to do his share in the home. These men exist. Trust me, over time, nothing is sexier. Sheryl Sandberg said that. And then the Dalai Lama said, remember that not getting what you want is sometimes a wonderful stroke of luck. I agree with that. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. We've got Saturday, the 21st day of July, National Be Somebody Day. And you should be somebody every day, shouldn't you, Heidi?
You probably should.
You should be yourself. Otherwise, you'll get arrested for impersonating people. That's not good. It's National Junk Food Day on Saturday. It's also National Strawberry Rhubarb Wine Day. Do you like strawberry rhubarb wine?
I don't think so. I'm sure it's kind of sweet, and I
is.
don't like sweet wine.
Saturday is Toss Away the Could-Haves and Should-Haves Day as well. And then we get to Sunday, the 22nd, National Panache Fudge Day. I don't know if I've had any of that. National Hammock Day. I got a fun hammock story if we got a second here. National Rat Catchers Day. What? And National Parents Day. Sunday, Hammock Day. I remember when we bought a hammock one time.
I know where you're going with this.
My wife and I put this thing up, and she said, here, I got some hooks. And I said, those aren't the right kind of hooks. She's like, just put them in there. They're going to be just fine. No, I don't think they're going to work. So I screw the hooks on there. They're all, really not the best-looking thing, kind of persnickety. And then I go to test out the hammock. And the hooks
I was
broke.
laying on it, and it worked fine.
Okay, you're much lighter than
and
me.
then you got on there with me.
It knocked the wind out of me.
And it collapsed.
Yeah, it knocked the wind out of me when I landed. It was bad. Don't do that this weekend on National Hammock Day.
John and Heidi.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. That's 800-818-3967. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
John and Heidi.
Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs. But first, take a listen to this. A nightclub at an Atlantic City casino is rebuilding their DJ booth so Shaquille O'Neal can fit inside. Now, here's my question. Are they doing it because Shaquille O'Neal plans to come there and be a DJ, or they're just doing it saying, hey, we're going to rebuild this booth and we're going to make it so big that Shaquille O'Neal could fit inside? I mean, that if he's coming to be a DJ, that makes sense. If not, the story is just kind of weird.
It's just ridiculous.
This DJ is big. How big? It is so big.
So big, the Shaquille O'Neal could fit in there.
Shaquille O'Neal could come be a DJ. I mean, just in case he wants to. Anyway, they're doing that in Atlantic City. Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This time of year, there are many parties, weddings, cookouts, and other events that often include alcohol. If you're drinking, be sure to have a designated driver. If you or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, there is help. The Addiction Hope and Helpline wants to help. If you feel like it's time to finally get the help you need, there's a toll-free number you can call, 1-800-438-0380. That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline, 1-800-438-0380, 1-800-438-0380.
John and Heidi.
And this is your brain on drugs. Sacramento Metro fire engine stolen Saturday from the scene of a vegetation fire. So this was last week in Rio Linda. The unidentified man stole the truck valued at about $1 million. That's a lot of dough for a fire truck.
Yeah, it is.
I guess that's probably what they go for. I never really thought about that. He picked up a woman outside her home about a mile away, and then the pursuit ensued. Several agencies pursued the stolen truck. It was going about 100 miles across 4 counties and reportedly swerved into oncoming traffic several times. It says here it ended 2 hours later when they stopped by deploying spike strips to get the fire truck to stop. 2 suspects, a man and a woman, were taken into custody. They took turns driving, and they were both under the influence of drugs and alcohol or a combination of the two. So there you go. That is not a good plan. Not a very inconspicuous vehicle to steal, by the way.
No, that's a bad idea.
But I suppose it's one way to get people to get out of your way. You got a fire truck. Get out of my way. Thanks for listening. This is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. Revised figures show that Hotel Transylvania 3 brought in $44 million in their box office debut last week. So they were thinking that it was more than that, and then they came back and they're like, no, it's $44 million, which sounds like a lot of money to me, but apparently that's not a lot of money when it comes to movies, especially ones that cost more than that to make. So I've not seen Hotel Transylvania 3 or 2 or 1, so I'm a little behind. And Demi Moore made a surprise appearance at the roast of Bruce Willis last week, cracked several jokes about their marriage. That's kind of cool. I think they still get along pretty well.
I think they get along very well.
Yeah,
I've seen them at several things together.
Well, they have children together, so it's nice that they get along. I think that's really kind of neat. Anyway, this has been Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
Now, your scoop of the day, brought to you by 80sinthesand.com. Canada's biggest retailer, Hudson Bay, recently dropped the Ivanka Trump clothing line. I wonder, was it not selling? Is that why they dropped it? Or they?
I don't think that's why they dropped it.
Oh, just wondering. Meghan Markle's dad is in the news. Now, this is a guy who got his 15 minutes of fame. He's on to like minute 17 or 18 now. So I just think the reason he's in the news is funny. Meghan Markle's dad told friends that he can tell from the photos online that his daughter is faking her smile, and he thinks that she's terrified by the prospect of joining the royal family. What? How is this news? It's like, I'm going to put out a press release. I saw photos of my daughter online, and she's faking her smile. I think she's afraid to become royalty. Okay. Why is that in the news? Does that make any sense to you? Why are we?
I think he is just really wanting.
He's getting some attention.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Which is fine. And she could very well be. I don't think so. I think she's a money hungry.
Would you just stop?
I'm sorry. I kind of feel that way about her.
I don't think so. I think she seems like a sweetheart.
Okay.
I don't know.
I've read interviews from like her former roommates and everything. And they were all saying, every one of them, every step of the way, this is what she has said. She wanted to either be president of the United States.
That's cool.
Or royalty, and she was going to get money somehow.
Well, I don't know all of that, and I'm not well versed in all
I don't know her personally.
No.
I just read what her friends said.
Well, I don't even
friends
read
like that.
Can we move on now? And why are you so far away? It's like you're talking from the other side of the room.
I don't know.
What you doing way over there? Wrapping gifts? Is that what you're doing over there?
I'm wrapping
Would you
gifts.
stop it? Rolls-Royce just announced that the company is developing a flying taxi that will begin operation by 2028.
That's a great idea.
When you think of taxis, you think of Rolls-Royce. No, you don't. Why in the world are they the ones working on that? Rolls-Royce? flying taxis by 2028?
It's only for the elite customers.
Oh, I see. Well, there you go. It just doesn't sound like anything at all that is associated with what I think of when I think of Rolls-Royce. A new study found that 90% of New York City subway trains are broken. 90%. The trains are broken somehow, where there's something broken here, something broken there. Some of the passengers on board are broken. I don't know exactly what they mean by that. 90% of subway trains are somehow not quite right.
By the way, you want to know why I sound like I'm so... Look at this boom mic you gave me.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Yours is all erect and firm. And
you want me to tighten that up? Is that what you're
droopy.
I think I need to just tighten that up for you, is what you're saying. We're talking about microphones, is what she... I got to get to at least a couple more stories here. The Thai soccer team that was rescued last week, they paid tribute last Monday
so sad.
To the Navy SEAL who passed away during the mission. This guy's a true hero. There's two different companies now working on doing movies. I wonder who will play him in the movies. You think it'll be Tom Hanks?
No.
Okay. He's the guy that plays everybody else. You just never know. A survey by creditcards.com found millennials are the worst tippers in the United States. Maybe they just don't have the money to tip.
Maybe they don't understand the
math
could be. In order to be able to tip.
You guys made fun of me one time. I was trying to figure out how to do it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I'm just going to take all the money out of my wallet and throw it on the table. I don't know. Just take it all. I don't know how this works. And I think this will probably be our last story here. The final Sears in the city of Chicago is expected to close just 2 months shy of the 80th anniversary. That is so sad.
That's a shame.
Remember, they had the Sears Tower in Chicago? That was like their main headquarters. Their final Sears in the city of Chicago, closing just 2 months shy of the 80th anniversary. Many people think Sears was started in Chicago, but they would be wrong. You know where it started?
Somewhere in the Midwest. I guess.
Woolsey, South Dakota.
There you go.
And here's the funny thing. I grew up 20 miles from Woolsey, South Dakota. There's not even a sign in that town saying that this is where Sears Roebuck started. Why wouldn't they have a sign at least?
Probably a good thing, because now they'd have to take it down. They're all closing.
Doesn't mean that they need to take the sign down. They could say, hey, back when this thing was a thing.
And then everybody like, what is Sears?
No, they'll be around for a long time. Anyway, this is going to do it for today's Scoop of the Day. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Do you have ideas for t-shirt designs, but you don't have a clue how to print them? Or maybe you'd like to have t-shirts and coffee mugs available to buy online with your business logo printed on them. There's a website that makes it easy. We set ours up in about 10 minutes. There's no sign-up fee, no minimum orders, no monthly fees. It's just a really easy way to put some cool items online for sale, and you get paid every time somebody buys them. You don't have to print or ship anything. Just sign up, upload your designs, and then let people know where they can get your cool stuff. More details available at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Today we have a guest joining us, Dr. Randi Hutter-Epstein, and she's got a new book out called Aroused, The History of Hormones and How They Control Just About Everything. How are you doing today?
Very well. Aroused, I guess. How are you?
That's a good thing, right?
You will be aroused during this conversation.
Very good. Well, tell me a little bit about the background and where you thought, hey, this is a book that absolutely needs to be put out.
Well, I have to say, after years of delving into medical archives and newspapers and just talking to endocrinologists and patients and menopausal women, men worried about their testosterone, I realized there's a lot of confusion out there, especially when it comes to hormones. And I wanted to set the record straight. I wanted to make a distinction between some of the fabulous advances that we've had in science and also some of the ridiculous, outrageous claims.
And what are some of the more ridiculous claims that you've come across and things that maybe people believe to be true, but they're just not even close?
Okay, well, let's go back a little in history. There are things that are going on now that just every time, when something's going on now, you don't think, well, that's not that ridiculous. But there was a time in the 1920s when word got out that vasectomies promoted libido. Freud got a vasectomy. Yeats, the poet, had a vasectomy. It became so popular that men called it getting Steinacked after the man, Eugene Steinack, that promoted this theory. And the thinking was there's always some basis of sort of truth in it. Eugene Steinack, the one who came up with this wacky theory, really was a great scientist. He was from Vienna. He was nominated for the Nobel 11 times. You have to be a pretty good scientist for that, for some basic science research that he did. But he took a wrong turn, and it seemed to him, well, if we don't let things leak out and keep it in, if we can just sort of clog, make a traffic jam in the way male hormones work, maybe men would feel better about it. So he did a few rat studies and then thought, yeah, this works. The rats seem to have more of a libido after a vasectomy. And then you know how these things work. You lure someone with better libido, and the fad just takes off.
And that was even before emails and internet. So, nowadays, imagine how many people would be doing that, because there'd be all kinds of junk mail coming out to everybody saying, hey, if you do this, this is going to happen.
Oh, you could have marketed so much better today. It's amazing how things got, word spread just from maybe one newspaper article or finding out that some celebrity did it. There were thousands of men, and he was in Vienna at the time, and it became hugely popular in the States. He himself never even made it to the States. But yeah, people started saying, well, I'll try that. Sure, I feel better. The placebo's very powerful, the placebo effect.
So we want to make sure, for anybody that caught the end of this conversation but not the beginning, that was something that wasn't true. So I just want to make sure they don't go out and make some drastic changes there. So what are some of the things you found that are accurate?
That are accurate? Well, we do know there's so many commercials now for testosterone on. We do know that if you are truly low in testosterone, and we mean 2 blood tests and analyzed by a reliable lab, and you can go on the CDC and find out if the lab that your doctor is sending it to is accredited. You can ask your physician, what lab are you sending this to? If you have 2 blood tests from 2 reliable labs and you are very low and you take testosterone and you go back into the normal range, you will feel much better. You'll feel better energetically, and it'll boost your libido. We do know that if you go from sort of a little on the lower normal to a little on the higher normal, fiddling with those numbers, despite what the ads say, isn't going to do much.
So this is something that mainly is going to make a big difference if you're drastically low, and it brings it back up to normal and above.
Exactly.
So now, are there things in women that when you were doing the research that you find that are true and that are not true?
Well, we do know that women go through changes during menopause. That's true. And we do know that for many women now going on hormone replacement therapy, there's been fears. It's been said, this is the greatest thing in the world. This is the worst thing. Here's what we know, that for some women, taking estrogen and progesterone, if they have a uterus, if they haven't had a hysterectomy, if you've had, you can do estrogen alone. For some women, these drugs, these hormones do help with hot flashes and other symptoms of menopause, but they are not the cure-alls that they were once touted to be. In the 1960s, there was this book, Feminine Forever, and it was thought, okay, take estrogen, and it's going to prevent every disease of old age. We haven't quite figured out the cure to mortality yet, or how to make ourselves immortal and feel immortal forever. But we do know how to control hot flashes a lot better than we used to. And there actually are non-hormonal ways, too. So women really should talk to their doctors. I think a lot of women, we just kind of suck it up and say, this is what we're dealing with, and I'm not going to complain, and I'm too busy, I'm working, and I have kids. But you can speak to your doctor about ways to feel better, to sleep better.
Well, thank you for chatting with us about the book. And this sounds like a very interesting subject. And there are probably some people listening that maybe in the beginning they're like, oh, that doesn't sound like my kind of thing. But the more you talked about it, the more I thought, at least myself, this sounds very interesting and sounds like something I would absolutely like to read. The book is available right now. Where can folks find it?
Where they can find it online. They can find it in their local independent bookstore. They can find it wherever they buy their books. It should be available.
All right. Dr. Randi Hutter-Epstein, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Again, the book is called Aroused, The History of Hormones and How They Control Just About Everything. It's available right now. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner, you should consider using radio. Radio is a powerful tool. Over 90% of us listen to the radio each week. Imagine if this ad was talking about your business, helping you hit your goals. We can help. We can also create a fun jingle too, to get people singing your song. When you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable, and that makes radio work even better. Learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. Radio jingles to help you get better results with the money you're already spending. RadioReallyWorks.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
You just seem so bored over there. Should I let you finish wrapping the packages? Is that what you Jumbo jets use 4,000 gallons of fuel just to take off. That's a lot of fuel.
That is a whole lot of fuel.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
It takes 6 months to build a Rolls Royce. We just talked about that.
I love Rolls Royces.
6 months to build one. It only takes 13 hours
look at this.
to build a Toyota. Yeah, you're
I'm not touching it.
I'll
It's
tighten
just
that up.
falling over.
All right. So 6 months
talking
to
to my
build.
microphone.
Would you stop? 6 months to build a Rolls Royce, 13 hours to build a Toyota. It's going to take me 1 minute to fix her microphone. It's going to do it for today's couple of fun facts, courtesy of LearnWithoutLoans.com.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
Time now for the grandiloquent word of the day, and I got to do this one nice and slow because it's fluckadrift. Fluckadrift. What does fluckadrift mean? F-L-U-C-K-A-D-R-I-F-T. Thank you, grandiloquent word people, for making things sound very naughty. What do you think fluckadrift means, Heidi?
I honestly have no idea.
It is a noun. Excessive speed or urgency of movement or action. If you are hurried or haste, if you're like doing something in haste, like right now you are fluckadriftily wrapping a package. Is that something that we're delivering to somebody today, or what is that all about? Is that for Christmas? What are you doing? I don't understand what she's doing over there. So fluckadrift, F-L-U-C-K-A-D-R-I-F-T, fluckadrift. Today's grandiloquent word.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
John and Heidi.
Now some weird news this weekend. Walmart.
By the way, thank you for fixing my microphone.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Look
what do you
at
think of that?
It's like...
You're still way back there,
It
though.
goes where I put it,
Yeah.
and it stays there.
Yeah. I just tightened it
That
up.
is so exciting.
I know. It's really cool stuff. Is that... Now you're going to
I'm
stay
happy.
close?
Yes. Now
Thank you.
I'll focus.
Don't think she will. You took me way off track here. A Walmart in Covington, Tennessee had to shut down because they were invaded by not zombies. No, not a weird dance flash mob, by a raccoon or two. There were initially 3 raccoons in the store wandering around. 2 were forced out of the store through the loading dock area, but a third was harder to get out, so they had to shut down the store until they could get the raccoon out of the store. How crazy
He
is
just
that?
wanted some bargains.
Probably. I bet he was in there looking for some sort of yummy treats. That's what he was looking for. So, yeah. I think it would be really kind of... Why would they have to shut it down, though? You'd think that people could still shop. And you could even employ them,
unless it
say...
had rabies or
well,
something,
they could
I
have said over the
suppose.
loudspeaker, ladies and gentlemen, we have a Walmart emergency. There's a raccoon in aisle 6. Whoever catches it gets 50% off. See?
Yeah.
If they would have done that...
They'd have a problem.
Oh,
on
you'd
their
have all
hands.
kinds of help. They didn't do that. They should have taken John's advice. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Time now for your moment of duh. Police busted a chronic subway surfer who was caught on video while riding on the outside of a C train last week. Officers went to the home of a 22-year-old Isaiah Thompson Tuesday and picked him up on charges of reckless endangerment, disorderly conduct, and creating a hazardous condition. Cops said that at least the 4th time now that this dim-witted daredevil has been caught riding on the exterior of a subway train. He was busted in March, in September, and November of 2017 for subway surfing. Faces similar charges each time. New York City Transit president said they called Thompson out for his dangerous and potentially train-delaying actions. They said this young man is lucky he ended up in police custody and not in a hospital or worse.
Well, yeah, it's a bad idea.
It's a terrible
obviously.
idea. So they're just saying, well, we don't want people doing this, and we got to set an example. We can't
Yeah.
just say, oh, hey, he didn't get hurt, so we're going to let it go. No, hey, we're going to arrest you because you can't do it again. That right there is today's Moment of Duh.
John and Heidi.
This time of year, there are many parties, weddings, cookouts, and other events that often include alcohol. If you're drinking, be sure to have a designated driver. If you or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, there is help. The Addiction Hope and Helpline wants to help. If you feel like it's time to finally get the help you need, there's a toll-free number you can call, 1-800-438-0380. That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline, 1-800-438-0380, 1-800-438-0380.
John and Heidi.
Time now for Fake News or Florida. All of these stories are either real stories that happened in the great state of Florida, or they're made up on the spot or in advance, most of the time in advance. You have to tell me, Heidi, if this is fake news or Florida. A woman was arrested for threatening to blow up the strip club that her husband's mistress worked at in Florida. Fake news or Florida?
Florida.
Wrong. Fake news. Got one past Heidi. It has been a while since I got one. You're a good goalie. I mean, I haven't got one past you like for a week and a half. So you finally fell for one. How about this one? Fake news or Florida? A man was arrested after breaking into a home, getting completely naked, and cooking spaghetti. Fake news or Florida?
That happens all the time, so I'm going to say Florida.
That is a true story. I don't know that it happens all the time, but it has happened
It
a few
happens
times.
a lot. We've read a lot of those.
Yeah, there have been several of those. So Heidi got one right. She got one wrong. The second one, the Florida story, is a true story, and I've got a link to the true story if you want to read all about it in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news. And before we get to the good news, I just got to say, why were you holding the scissors like that?
I was waiting to curl some ribbon, and I knew you wouldn't want me to do that on the air. So
I thought you were getting ready
waiting
to stab me or
patiently.
something. If I turn up dead, multiple scissor wounds, Heidi did it. No, I don't think she's going to. Hey, this is a great good news story here. When little girl's beloved toy disappears, grocery store workers sift through the landfill until they find it. 3 grocery store workers went above and beyond the call of duty to help a little girl who was heartbroken over the loss of her best friend, a stuffed animal named Bunny. 3-year-old Madison had been out shopping with Mama, and they were at this grocery store in Alabama. When they got home, they realized her toy was missing. And she had Bunny ever since she was born, and this youngster was very distraught. So Friday morning, she went back to the store to see if anybody had found it. The customer service said nobody had turned the rabbit in. So the mother went home to social media and said, hey, has anybody seen this bunny? The post was shared hundreds of times until it was spotted by Mike Gayhart, the manager of the local grocery store where she was at. Unable to bear the thought of a heartbroken toddler being without her best friend, he said, you know what, we're going to check surveillance footage for the bear, or the bunny.
Oh, that's above and beyond.
And they found that the shopping cart had been left, and it ended up, the bunny made its way to the dumpster, and then to the compactor, and then to the landfill.
Holy cow.
But they don't think they had all of that on video. They just had on video it going into the dumpster, but that's where it went from there. So they went out to the landfill, and they picked through until they found it, and then they cleaned it up and gave it back to the little girl. And look at her. Look how happy she is to have her bunny back.
Wow.
That is
Holy
such a
cow,
great story.
I can't believe it's still in such good shape.
Yeah. Well, it's cleaned up quite a bit, I'm sure. There's a picture of it up here where they dug it out of the trash. Bunny looks pretty dirty there. It's a cool story that they would go
so far out of their way to.
So hats off to each and every one of you that were on that team. That's really neat. I've got a link to the story if you want to read all about it. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening this weekend.